there are some boys concerned about toxic masculinity who are now struggling with gender. I mean, that's incredible to me. We always sort of joke about that term because it's like, I don't know. It's not like we really love toxicity, but I mean, a lot of us love masculinity in our men, and we don't want effeminate men if we're straight women. I mean, a lot of us feel that way. I feel that way.
Right.
But I never thought that it was a problem that would affect somebody's gender identity. To me, and I want you to expand on this, but to me, that's sort of the flip of girls, you know, being told, you're going to get Me Too'd, you're going to get, you know, sex discriminated against, you're going to be treated as the weaker sex. And they're like, well, screw this, I'm crossing over. Like, what are my other options? And, right? It's sort of the same, but on the boys' side.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to wrap your mind about, but there are sort of gentle, sweet boys who sometimes growing up in an environment without any positive male figures, like their mother had an abusive partner, and they live in a very female-centered world, and all they hear about is toxic masculinity, and that men are aggressive, and that men cause pain and harm. And they're just sort of horrified by that. And they're like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to do that. They don't identify as, you know, as a violent, abusive male. And they don't see a way forward as they're growing into being a man.
I agree. And I think that the conflation of sort of social justice wokeness with advice about gender makes it confusing for certainly a lot of young males, in that, you know, they don't want to be associated with toxic masculinity. They don't want to be associated with white male privilege that has served to oppress all minorities, and colonize, the indigenous populations. So it is between a rock and a hard place. I'm in the Bay Area, and there are a lot of schools that are very progressive, and some do it very well to bring up some of these issues. And some create such an environment that I literally have had parents call me and say, our boys came home from school today crying that they learned that they were the problem with humanity. And I think that's a terrible message to convey to boys in particular.
My gosh, it's so disturbing. So I want to get to what you should do, but let me ask you this question first. So we talked about puberty blockers, Julia, but we didn't talk about cross-sex hormones. And that seems to be a much bigger deal than the puberty blockers. So like the cross-sex hormones, as I understand it, if you're a young girl who says, I think I'm actually a boy and I want to start looking like and acting like a boy, and you go on puberty blockers into cross-sex hormones, you're infertile. That cannot be undone. So, I mean, it's 10 out of 10 severe in terms of your life decisions.
Yeah. If a child is put on puberty blockers at Tanner 2, which is literally like the first pubic hair, you know, like they still look like a child.
Tanner 2, is that what you said?
Tanner, sorry. The Tanner staging. Kids are Tanner 1 until they start puberty, and then Tanner 2 is the most subtle of changes, and it goes to 5. You know, it's a scale that we use, and the current protocol is to put kids on puberty blocker at Tanner 2 and thus stop puberty altogether. Then the gonads don't develop, and we actually have so little information about what happens if a kid is put on puberty blockers for gender dysphoria and then stops them. I mean, we're told that it's a harmless pause and everything will resume. And we're basing that on our experience with much younger children who are given this for precocious puberty. But I have been unable to find any good data. It's, you know, one of the problems with the Tavistock is they seem to be deliberately not collecting any information. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, so
Just whether you could put, whether infertility could
sterility
come,
is likely. Yeah, sterility is likely because the gonads don't develop.
As everyone starts to go back to school over the next few weeks, do some good by helping feed children who are facing hunger and food insecurity. Our partner, Good Ranchers, is on a mission to donate 100,000 high-quality meals to young children who often go unfed or who are malnourished from poor access to nutritious food. You can join this campaign by ordering a box of 100% American meat. Every order contributes meals to this cause and makes a huge difference in the lives of these children. Good Ranchers is an award-winning food delivery service that brings 100% American meat and seafood right to your door. They source the best of American farms so that you can get the highest quality food possible and trust what you're feeding to your family every time. Go to goodranchers.com/Megyn to join the movement today. You will get $30 off your order, you'll get free shipping, and you'll donate food to children in need. Giving back never felt or tasted so good. Let's help them hit and ideally pass that goal of 100,000 meals donated. Go to goodranchers.com/Megyn or just use my code MEGYN when you're checking out. Change the future one meal at a time with Good Ranchers. goodranchers.com/Megyn. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.